I'm Cali, obviously. I am a PhD candidate studying clinical neuropsychology at Monash University. I am a new Melbourneian. I recently moved here from Queensland after doing my undergraduate degree at the University of Queensland, and have since started acclimatising to the unpredictable but very beautiful at times Melbourne weather. I'm doing Huntington's research, which is obviously what we're here to talk about today, and I'm really looking forward to discussing that a bit further. I'm also learning French. So I've been spending the past 6 months or so really immersing myself in French movies and French food, and planning to go to France later on this month, which is really exciting for me. And other hobbies, I enjoy running. I recently ran my first half marathon last year. I'm not sure if I'm ready yet for the full marathon, but we'll see how I go over the next couple months. Interestingly enough, when I first started my undergraduate degree, my least favourite subject was the neuroscience-y ones. I found it really tricky to wrap my head around the neurons and the complexity of neuroanatomy and all that fun stuff. So I definitely wasn't thinking that I would go into neuropsychology in my early years of my undergraduate degree. It wasn't until my third and fourth year where I started taking neuroscience subjects as sort of elective courses because my friends were taking them, that I realised how interesting it was and how much richness there is to offer in sort of the neuropsychology realm. I think that while I certainly have a very keen interest in mental health and helping people with emotional issues that may be popping up, I also learnt that I was really interested in helping people with the cognitive side of things. And I do think that in some ways that can be a bit underserviced in Australia. There isn't a lot of focus placed on people who have neurological problems and how that might impact not only everyday life, but how that also impacts mood and family dynamics and, sort of the day-to-day well-being. I was interested in pursuing neuropsychology from that realm, which then led quite nicely into my research because I'm, exploring that day-to-day impact of cognitive symptoms for people who have Huntington's disease. Cognitive symptoms, we know, can be incredibly debilitating to people who have any neurological conditions, but especially when you think about a disorder like HD, which does affect people at a time in their lives when they're really, they're involved in, high levels of employment. They might have family responsibilities. They've got their foot in a lot of different roles. And we know that cognitive symptoms are one of the things that can make it really tricky to maintain sort of your connection to those roles. And while we do know that, there's lots of research that shows that cognitive symptoms are hugely impactful to day-to-day lives for people who have Huntington's, I think what's been missing a little bit from the conversation is the perspectives from the community themselves. So what we've been doing with my research is actually talking to people with Huntington's disease at all different stages of disease progression, as well as loved ones. So I think another thing that you'll probably really agree with is that, Huntington's is not a one-person disease. It's a family disease. It's a community disease. And, cognitive symptoms don't only impact the person who's experiencing those symptoms, but they also impact family members, loved ones, co-workers, anyone who might be around that person. So we've been speaking to loved ones as well to hear their experiences about how cognitive symptoms have been impacting day-to-day lives for people with HD, and what areas of life are most meaningful to them that they feel are being impacted by those symptoms. I think there's been this wonderful push in research and in the way clinical trials are set up and, of course, in clinical practice as well, to value the patient perspective. might seem like an obvious thing, but it's something that maybe hasn't been valued as much in the past. So I think what's been important in my research is that we're sort of reviewing the measures that we're using. So are they capturing what actually matters to people who are living with this disease, who are the most important stakeholders? So we wanted to review, are these measures actually capturing things that matter to this community? And once we know whether they're capturing things that matter, we can sort of map on how those cognitive symptoms are impacting day-to-day life. And in that way, how those measures are capturing those changes in day-to-day life as well. So we know in neuropsychology, we have ideas on what these measures are capturing, and we can give informed opinions to these people. But at the end of the day, the people with the lived experience have the expertise in how Huntington's is actually impacting them. So we thought it might be important to defer to them to see whether they felt their experiences were being accurately captured. The whole study is based on the community's voice. So those are the people we really want to be hearing from. We can't do this type of research without hearing from the diverse the diverse community of those people who have the disease and who are impacted by the disease. So the response from the HD community has been incredible. There's been so much enthusiasm to provide their own input. And like I said, at all different stages of the disease progression or disease experience. And on the other side as well, care partners really keen to provide their unique experience as someone who doesn't have the cognitive symptoms themselves, but is watching their loved ones sort of experience these changes. And that's a really valuable insight that we wanted to include as well. So if community members would like to learn more about the study, or if they're interested in participating themselves, they're more than welcome to contact me directly via email. My details and information about the study is also listed on the HDNA website, as well as the HD Victoria website as well under the Research Hub. I've been really lucky to get lots of input from HD researchers and HD experts at all different levels all across the world. So I've had lots of input from people in the US who've helped guide the study, which has been really fantastic. And then on, I guess, more of a peer-to-peer level, really lucky to be surrounded by a group of PhD students who are just fantastic. You guys had Jishen on the interview on the show earlier, who is absolutely fantastic. And he and I started actually at the same time. He's doing the clin psychology stream. I'm doing the clinical neuropsychology stream, but we started our PhDs at the same time. So getting to work alongside him and then the other PhD students who were there at the start or who have sort of joined us along the way. It's a really inspiring space to be surrounded by people who are passionate about Huntington's disease and share those values in helping the HD community in any way that we can. So that's been a really important part of the journey, is having those friends along the way.